We're here with Alfred Willener, who's my dear friend from Lausanne, Switzerland, and occasionally from Paris. And Alfred and I have known each other since some of the first few years when there were Monet trumpets. Alfred got serial number 199, which was designed for him. Alfred, your main job, in addition to being an avid amateur trumpet player for years and years and years and years, is that you are a sociologist.
I am. I still am. I was specialized in studying industries and work, and later on social movements and media, and to end culture, especially music. I became a sociologist of music.
Uh-huh.
Changed over time, evolving because things, that's how it happens.
Okay, well, most of the people that we work with are not sociologists. So let me ask the question, because you are a sociologist, that perspective, what can you make some comments for the people with this little video interview about what you've seen happen in the last 25 years or so?
One thing that I was especially interested these days, because you introduced that recently, it was a computer guided lathe, you say that you call this, to make the mouthpieces. And the interesting thing is that this does not force you or bring you to become someone who is interested in mass production, which so many other people do in many fields, not just with the instruments. You at the same time profit from the capacity of this new equipment to produce, once it is set, the same mouthpiece, exactly the same, as many as are used in the moment. But on the other hand, you put so much work and thinking into organizing this computer organized lathe, because you have all this experience with the different mouthpieces. And I don't know whether this is right. I think you made something like 1,000 computer programs to make 1,000 different mouthpieces.
Yeah.
This is absolutely fantastic and must not be misunderstood as mass production. It helps you to be even more precise, more personal in terms of the needs and individual needs, and instead of doing what you did years ago to do it by hand, it's the machine that does it. But the important thing is, of course, the understanding of the mouthpiece, the understanding of what the musician needs, and you can bring him what he needs. It's absolutely amazing.
And well, thank you. And to that end, let's talk about some of what happened in the last 3 days. And you got to hear Ron Miles play his new horn, the Sattva. Can you talk about your impressions of that? How did he sound, and what did you like about it, or what didn't you like about it?
Well, I liked it, and I like very much what Ron Miles does in general. I saw different sides of his playing, very internalized ones first, very shy apparently, and then he opened up more, especially when he played with the trio. But I realized, comparing his playing to the playing of other players, how much he is the exact contrary of a number of others. Instead of going up in the register, he goes down. Instead of playing loud, he plays usually soft. Instead of considering the improvisation side to his playing as simply bringing out some details and some very short phrases and gadgets in terms of using the pistons and things like that, well, he does exactly what the older trumpet players did, like Art Farmer, who had a concept of an improvisation which has a beginning, develops, has an end, which the others, most of them, do not do. And instead of also going essentially on the energy side, which he can do as well, he develops different things as the older classical trumpet players did in jazz, which is remarkable. I'm not criticizing this for these musicians who can also play other things, but I found it very interesting that Ron Miles, amongst the things, on top of things I already said, he is also someone who has a consideration for silence. I mean, we all know that music is notes and silence between the notes. And but some of the people here play so fast and so constantly that you forget about silence. Ron Miles, he introduces silence as his classical device, of course, but he does it also.
And what did you think of Wynton's playing when you heard Wynton at this thing? Wynton was the last performer at the on the very last performer, the third day, the third concert of our get together. How did Wynton
I
impress you?
think he was very good that day, very good, and I think he has developed his own style now in jazz, in modern jazz. That does not really exist a similar thing what he does. It's original, and he has such a maestria in his way of coping with the situation. He looks at people, he moves around. He has also a definite understanding of silence between the notes and between the phrases and all this, and his improvisations were really rich, as I said before, with beginning, development and end and so. So it was really superior improvising. Of course, we all knew that he is one of the best trumpet players in the world, but here now we know he is also one of the best jazz improvisers in the world. He was not always. As you know, he had to learn improvisation relatively late in his career. He was already a superior classical player. But I think he in the beginning he was not really a jazz player. He had to learn it from when he played with the first orchestras and so. And he developed also. I have read this book when he talks about his tours with his colleagues who are inspired mainly by the blues. And he's got all this, but he's got it relatively late in his career, which doesn't mean he was old then. But okay. I was really happy to hear him in such good stage.
Yeah, really amazing. And then I'd be curious for your comments on, of course, Charlie Schlueter, and many of his students were here.
Oh yeah.
For this thing.
Oh yeah.
And talk for a minute about Charlie Schlueter and his very unique and fairly revolutionary approach to classical trumpet playing.
Oh yes, oh yes. I can't say this in general, but more about his trumpet playing, because I've talked many times with him about, and I have, as you probably know, written a method together with him 10 years ago. He came to Paris for I think it was nearly 3 weeks. We worked all day on his method of teaching and so, and it's a book that's never been published so far, but he wants to publish it later on.
Yeah.
So I know a lot about his concept of trumpet playing, and of course one should say more than just his teaching, because he's a great interpreter, of course. And I heard it in all these things he did. Even when he just tried a trumpet, he does it different, and he can transform a very simple song. I mean, like the ones he has on CD. He put so much music into that. I would say more than what is written, and it makes it really into an interesting piece, which is fantastic. And he is always doing things in terms of art and never just in terms of show. He can play strong, but it's never just to play loud. And he has so many qualities. It's fantastic. I was a little worried that he overworked himself this week, but he says no, it's okay. That's what he usually does.
While we have this opportunity, I'll ask you, is there anything else that you would like to talk about, or any other impressions you have, either about the work that we do here or the last 3 days, or any comments from your particular unique perspective as a sociologist that we should talk about to finish up?
I'm kind of myself in wonderland when I see what you do. It is a fascinating undertaking of what you do with this shop since years, and how this develops. But I also know that you can develop things further in other fields. You haven't had time to do much of this, but you still have many years to go, I hope. And I know that you are one of the rare inventors who can do really creative new things, and even bring them to the point where they become possible to fabricate, which is much rarer, of course. And I think you will find a way to continue.
Yes, sir, and hopefully with your help and good suggestions along the way. Alfred, thank you so much for your friendship and your support over all these years.